got Renee. Hello, Renee. You look so
Hey, hey, hey.
beautiful. We miss ya.
Yay. I missed y'all.
And we got Miss Rose. Hello, Rose.
Hi.
Congratulations on your starting up on the sugar detox.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Kathy.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing well. Thank you.
Good. And Jen. Hello, Jen.
Hello.
And I see Leslie, but don't see Leslie.
I'm walking, so I just have you guys propped up.
That's fine. Are you walking in the snow?
No, I'm in the house, just
Okay.
walking circles.
All right. Well, my kids did some sledding today for their exercise outside, so they walked.
I had to go rescue a chicken. She got lost and couldn't find her way back to the coop, so I got to go do that today. That was fun.
I see. All the fun stuff.
Mhm.
Well, I have not gone outside today. I will say I have been inside enjoying the warmth of my house. To just be honest, that's what I've been doing today. All right. Well, it is 8 o'clock. So some more people may be joining us. I see Jessica. Hello, Jessica. And I see Patty. Well, I don't see Patty, but I see Patty. I see your name, Patty. Let's see. I always say that because there was a time that I said, I see somebody and they go, "You can see me?" And I was like, no, I can't really see you, but I see your name. So I just like to be clear to make sure I don't freak anybody out thinking they're not being seen right now. Well, I want to welcome all of y'all to this Sugar Detox 101 workshop. I'm excited for all of you that have shown up live because I know that when there's replays, it is harder to watch than it is when it's live. So I do appreciate you for your time. I know wherever you're at right here, where I'm at, it's 8 p.m. So for some it's late, some it's a little bit earlier. For some people, it makes it easier because it's kind of the wind down time, dinner's over. So this is just kind of the chosen time I have picked for our Exceptional Health Masterclass that's starting next week. This is our kickoff week because what I'm going to be doing for the next 10 weeks is the Thursday before the next week. We are going to really discuss something specific where regards to what we're eating. All right. And sometimes it's taking something away, like today we're going to be talking about sugar, and sometimes it's about adding things. So I just wanted to invite anybody and everybody that wanted to attend to the Sugar Detox 101 so you could learn more about what it is we do and what we're learning and what we're walking through. So I see now that we've got Penny and we have Terry. And I just want to say welcome and hello. So if anybody is watching the replay, just know that if you have any questions, you can send them my way. For the rest of you that are live, I am going to give you an opportunity at the end to ask questions. Of course, I might ask some questions during it, but like if you have a personal question, you can use the chat. If you'll just put a Q in there in the question. So if I go through the chat, it's a little bit easier for me to see where the questions are, because you might be just saying hello to somebody. And so just make it a little bit easier for me. And then I also want to thank Kim. I don't see her on here right now, but Kim Kuhl is the winner for tonight's Sharing is Caring drawing. So I put on there, if you share this, right, that you're going to have the opportunity to win something. So tonight, the gift, and I had one and now I don't see it, but it's one of my books and I don't know where my book disappeared to, but anyway, it's one of my books. So Kim, I'll get with you and get that sent to you, but I appreciate anybody that shared this. You know, as you're going to hear, as I talk about this, I'm pretty passionate about it. I'll try not to be too loud. I'll try not to be too fast, but when I get passionate, I get loud and I get fast. But let me go ahead and start sharing my screen so I can share the presentation with you, because I have a lot I want to share and I want to make sure that you can see it. Let's see. So let me grab that and then I'm going to share my screen. And if somebody can just let me know for sure they share my screen when I say, am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
Thank you, Jen. I'm going to bring y'all back down here so I can see everybody. I like to see ya, but I can't see on the same screen as my presentation. So it looks like we've got Christina here now, and we have Teresa. Welcome, ladies. All right, so Sugar Detox 101. Okay, tonight these are the topics we're going to hit. We're going to be talking about 10 foods with hidden sugar. We're going to talk about how to deal with sugar cravings, why sugar is a silent killer, sugar and your hormone health, okay, sugar, candida, and inflammation, sugar and stress, and starting the sugar detox. So those are the things that I am for sure going to be discussing tonight. But before we jump into the 10 foods with hidden sugars, let's go ahead and just discuss for a moment why I would call this workshop Sugar Detox 101, okay? So detox is short for detoxification, which would mean we would need to get rid of a toxin, right? And the toxin we are actually talking about tonight is sugar, okay? So sugar is toxic. It impairs gut health. It impacts skin, acne, and eczema. It causes weight gain. It impacts hormones and PCOS. It reduces our energy. It impacts our immune response. It's linked to heart disease. It is as addictive as drugs, leads to diabetes, and impacts mental health. It is toxic, okay? I wish I could sugarcoat it, all right, and say it's not, but the truth is added sugar will always stress out our body and will always be toxic. And y'all, this is something that I have been learning about for the last 10 years, and still I have to remind myself, no matter what, it is toxic and it is a stressor to my body. There is no getting around it. Added sugar, which we're going to be talking about what that is toxic, okay? I want you to make sure to understand added, because we're going to talk about natural sugars too, but I'm talking about added when I talk about a toxin. And so like the white sugar, right? And then we're going to be talking about some names for the hidden sugars. But I'm not talking about the sugar found in the foods God created. Okay, so that's not what we're talking about tonight. Now, our cells need fuel, all right? And a lot of times people think, well, I'm just going to grab a candy bar or something that might have sugar in it to give me fuel. And what I want you to understand are there are two types of fuel. There is glucose and there are ketones, okay? And we have thousands of cells. So I just have a picture of one cell there, but there's thousands of those cells, all right? And they need either glucose or ketones to give us energy. But the thing is a lot of times we lump all sugars together as that glucose that is going to give us the energy that we desire, okay? And that is not necessarily true. So what is glucose? Glucose is the primary source of energy. Glucose is transported to the cells by insulin. We're going to get into that in just a second. Glucose is always used first in the body, and any glucose not transported to the cells for energy is stored in the fat cells. Do y'all want me to read that last part again? Any glucose not transported to the cells for energy is stored in the fat cells. All right. Now, there is ketones. Who's heard of ketones before? Okay, let's discuss what ketones are. Ketones are energy efficient fuel. Okay. Ketones are fat broken down for fuel. So we have fat, it's broken down into ketones. Ketones are only used when not enough glucose is available. Okay, so even if we have ketones within our body, if we have glucose, our body is going to send the glucose to those cells first. Here's the thing, ketones do not need insulin to transport both ketones and fatty acids into cells. They're able to cross through and get into the cell without it. Okay, now tonight we are not going to go into all things ketosis, keto diet, ketones, all that. What I do want you to understand tonight is how sugar has worked as a toxin in your body. All right. So glucose and ketones, this is something I want everybody to understand, are created in our liver through glucogenesis and ketogenesis. We do not need to eat sugar to make glucose. Our body can do it itself. Okay. Now there are some ketones out there that you can take if you're like on a keto diet and stuff, but the same thing about ketogenesis, our body can make ketones from what is already here. All right. So a lot of times we think it's okay to eat sugar because my body needs it. Your body doesn't really need it. It does need glucose or ketones, but our body is capable of making it. So sometimes little pictures don't show up, and I have no idea why at this moment it's not showing up, but there should be, some things just start going on, y'all. Just letting you know. Okay, I don't know why, but it is. Are y'all seeing like my mail popping up?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I'm not doing anything, just letting y'all know. This is how my week has gone. Just letting you know. All right, let me stop my share for just a minute and see if it will let me, because right now it's not even giving me the box to remove my emails, which is kind of funny because this week, the last 2 weeks, I've had some email that I haven't even been able to get up until yesterday. All right, but now it wants to show me all my emails while we're doing a presentation. Okay. Let's see if it'll let me share. Can y'all see it again? Nope, not seeing anything. Let's try that again. Pink, can you see a little girl? All right. So on the left, I can't see it, so I'm guessing you can't see it. There should have been some sugar, but it's not showing up. Sugar likes to hide, y'all, and it's trying to hide from us right now. That's all I can say about that. So what happens with sugar is we have insulin that transport it. Insulin is a hormone, but hormones are messengers, okay? So the sugar goes to the insulin takes it into our cell. Our cell then gives, we see this little girl with energy, right? Who has ever, seen this process in action? You give kids a piece of candy and they're bouncing off the walls. Anybody ever seen that before? Okay. For most children, their cells are ready to take in the glucose and the insulin does an amazing job and the result is energy. All right. I want you to look at this cell because the next picture, the cell should look differently if everything shows up on the screen. Yes. Okay. So the sugar's missing again. Sugar likes to hide. There's sugar. Insulin takes it to the cell. And then you see a lady that's kind of like, she doesn't have the energy the little girl had, right? So what is different about around this cell, is this red circle. Have you ever noticed that too much sugar in a kid often causes a crash? Or maybe as an adult, you're tired a lot of the time after you have sugar, or maybe you have a quick sugar rush and then you're down. It only lasts a few minutes. Anybody experience that or see that? Okay. The difference between the last slide and this one is that big red circle right there around the cell is because our body is amazing. Would everyone here agree that our body is amazing? Okay. It does everything it can to stay in balance. And when there is too much insulin bringing in too much glucose, the cells block it. And this can give you a sugar crash, or even worse, can be the beginning of what's called insulin resistance. and nothing is showing up. So I'm going to stop my share real quick and see if had this happen once before, and we're going to see if I go out. Y'all may have to see it smaller. I don't know. Let's see here for a second. I'm going to go out of this for just a minute, y'all, and see if I come back in, if it'll let me share it, because half of the slides aren't showing up. And I can talk you through it, but I'd rather you be able to see it. Can y'all see my screen at all? No, good, okay. You shouldn't be able to, I was just making sure. All right, it's showing up, so I'm going to see if I make it bigger, if it's still showing up. And now I'm going to share my screen. All right, so hopefully it's going to work for us now. If there's any, oh look, we even have sugar showing up now. See the sugar? All right, so y'all pray for the computer and the technology and all that for me. So right here, often we're afraid of the diagnosis of diabetes, but here's the thing, y'all, diabetes is typically diagnosed 20 plus years after the beginning of insulin resistance. So you're not even going to see on like a glucose monitor or going to the doctor and having your blood sugar or A1C tested for insulin resistance. It comes way after. But I want you to see some of the signs of insulin resistance, okay? If you tend to be overweight, chances are you're insulin resistant. If you have trouble losing weight, it's because of insulin resistance. Large appetite, craving sweets after meals. Who wants to eat sweets? Like an hour after you eat, you're like, I shouldn't be hungry, but all I can think about is what's in the cabinet. It's a good sign of insulin resistance. Eating the sweets still doesn't relieve the cravings though. Like you'll want more, right? Feeling more tired after meals. Who like thinks I'm so tired, I'm going to go eat. And then you're like more tired after you eat than you did before. And you thought you were tired before. That's a sign of insulin resistance. Frequent thirst and urge to urinate. Hormone problems, PCOS. Females having either estrogen or testosterone dominance, okay? Males with low testosterone, acne, skin tags, and skin pigmentation changes, all are early signs of insulin resistance. And I had all of these three things starting in my teen years and had no idea that that was the beginning of insulin resistance. High blood pressure and high triglycerides, okay? Here's the thing, y'all. When I look back, I have probably been insulin resistant since the 4th or 5th grade, because that was the first time I had acne. And they're now finding that kids with acne are more likely to become diabetic in their adult years if they don't make changes. Okay. At first, our body detoxes the sugar through the skin. We don't like it, but if we don't change our diet, we just put something on the acne, we're not fixing the problem, and the cells are still resistant to insulin. So what they have found in regards to insulin resistance is that it was caused by too much sugar, but it's not because of too much natural sugar. So the studies do not show if you have too much fruit, right, you're going to become insulin resistant. It's been linked to added sugar. And here's why. Natural sugars are digested differently than added sugars, okay? When we have something natural that has sugar in it, and I'm talking about God-made food, right? Those foods also have fiber in it, And here's the thing, fiber slows down the process of sugar being broken down. Where added sugars, they're just toxic sugar and it goes straight to the liver to be broken down. In my book, Bye Bye Normal, Hello Exceptional, I lovingly call our liver mom because she is constantly cleaning up. She's working long hours. She's not getting enough time to rest. And she gets worn out, especially from all the sweetness in her life. She's the mom of our body, okay? Here is the thing. The healthy liver, all right, is able to process toxins that come through the body easily. An unhealthy liver, also known as a fatty liver, not so much. It's sluggish, it's backed up, it's tired. Anyone else ever feel that way? Okay. If you are feeling that way, your liver is feeling that way too. So what causes fatty liver disease? Obesity or overweight. But how did we get there, right? Insulin resistance. When insulin resistance has gone too long, that is typically when we then see diabetes. With diabetes, we typically see metabolic syndrome. A lot of times people will be diagnosed with insulin resistance, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and high triglyceride levels. And that is what's called the metabolic syndrome. So what does all that have to do with sugar? Okay. Well, y'all, it's just too much of a sweet thing. Okay. The American Heart Association recommends that women, that's us, consume no more than 6 teaspoons and men no more than 9 teaspoons of added sugars per day. Even one 20-ounce soda contains 15 teaspoons of sugar, okay, in a 20-ounce Coke. But here's the thing. The average person here in America have 23 teaspoons of added sugar in their diet. Now, you might be saying, I don't eat that much added sugar. 12 years ago, I would have said the same thing. Y'all, I didn't buy Twinkies. I didn't buy ding dongs. I occasionally had a donut. But when I counted up how much sugar I was having in a day in my regular SAD diet, y'all, standard American diet, I was having the average amount of 23 teaspoons. And I had the symptoms of both insulin resistance and fatty liver at the age of 39. And as a health professional, neither of those were on the radar for me. I had no idea all the issues I was having had anything to do with my sugar intake. And this is what brings us to the 10 foods with hidden sugar. Okay. Cereals. Y'all, I won't lie, sometimes I miss cereal. But did you know the average box cereal, and this is not the cereal that has all the sugar listed first, okay? This is just an average box of cereal, has 19 grams of sugar per serving. That's 5 teaspoons of sugar. Can somebody tell me that they can only eat 1 serving of cereal or 1 bowl of cereal? Because most of our bowls isn't a serving, y'all. Like a serving is very small of cereal. When I calculated, this was 12 years ago, my oldest son was eating 4 servings of cereal for breakfast. And sometimes he'd have cereal later, right? So he was having 20 teaspoons of sugar for breakfast. Might as well have a donut, right? Same amount there. Bread. Most store-bought bread, even if it's whole wheat and organic, is full of sugar, okay? Sweetened beverages. Now, I know that you're probably not surprised. Well, of course it's sweetened. We know it has sugar in it, right? But who loves their favorite coffees from the coffee shop? Okay. A caramel frappuccino has 44 grams of sugar. That's 11 teaspoons. And y'all, that isn't even the highest sugar drink you can get. That's the average. How about sweetened dairy products? Who screams for ice cream? Am I the only one? But maybe you think, I know ice cream isn't good for me, so I'm going to get a low-fat yogurt parfait. That has to be better, right? Well, that's about 27 grams of sugar. And that's, again, more than the recommended sugar for women in a day, okay? Which reminds me, y'all, I grew up in the 80s and was on the low-fat diets because that was what was supposed to be healthy for us. Low-fat diets are now looked at, when we look back, were high sugar diets. All they did was replace fat with more sugar, And now we're paying for it with insulin resistance, and many have full-blown diabetes. How about the sauces and dressings, ketchup? Okay, check those labels. Your salad, okay, your dressing can be more like a candy bar. I had shown on there a packet. This is a packet that my husband bought at Natural Grocers. It's from Simply Organic. Okay, it's spicy taco seasoning mix. He bought it to take to the hunting cabin because it would be easy for his tacos. And I always check because I have found that one of the places that has most hidden sugars are in anything that's packaged. If it has a label on it, it's going to be on there. Okay. And maltodextrin is on here. This right here, and it's only like 2 teaspoons of this. This is 4 servings right here. Already shows a gram of sugar. But it's a seasoning. It's fine. And we think, well, it's okay. It's just a little bit of sugar, right? I'm going to talk more about how those affect us, but I just want you to know it's going to make you want to go and buy this again and again and again. Okay. So pancakes and waffles, not only do they have added sugar inside, but think about how much sugar you're putting on the outside. And then the question is, what is that syrup made of? All right. How about protein bars? Y'all, sometimes we think we're making healthier choices by grabbing a protein bar over a candy bar. Check the back. Some are full of sugar. Dried fruits. Y'all, dried fruit is sweet on its own, but most are packaged with added sugar. Why? To make you buy some more. Granola bars, high in sugar too. Here's the thing with restaurant food. Problem here is you have no idea what they're adding to your food. And the truth is they want you to come back, and the best way is to add what? Sugar. Okay. Now you might be reading the labels. My husband, he was looking at it. It all says organic on it, y'all. He just read the first part. Organic this, organic that, organic. It must be good. No. Okay. That doesn't make it good just because it says organic on there. All right. There are hidden sugar names. So not only do we have hidden sugars in all those things, but we don't even know what the names of them are that are sugars. So here are some of the hidden sugar names. Corn syrup, corn sugar, high fructose corn syrup, fructose. I want you to know about those 4 right there. They cannot go into your cells. They have to be changed to glucose before they can go into your cells. So who has to do that? Mom. Mom has to flip this fructose in the corn syrup and all these things to glucose to even go into the cell for energy. She is working overtime. She needs like a big raise. Okay. Dextrose, maltose, malt sugar, malt syrup, multidextrin, what was in the spicy taco, sorghum syrup, sucrose, which is white sugar, cane sugar, and cane juice. Okay. Those are just a few that, you see. There's a lot of different ones. If it's from a label, y'all, I'm serious. It's really hard to find anything packaged that's not going to have a hidden sugar in it. And here's the thing about all those hidden sugars. Okay. They cause disease. And we easily become addicted and we crave these hidden sugars. And the worst part is we're not even aware that they're there, and that's why we want them. My goal in this class is to increase awareness, to help you and me, all right, make better choices so that we can live a healthy life full of natural energy. And I don't want to speak an addiction on anyone, but I want you to realize that most foods, again with the label, even if it says organic, has hidden addictive sugars in it. And the reason why is so that you will buy it again and again. Rarely are you going to hear anybody say, oh, I'm addicted to broccoli, or I'm addicted to chicken, right? They like it. It tastes good. But addictions don't come from natural foods. Okay. Now there are times that we have cravings for natural foods because we need the minerals and the vitamins that are in it. Okay. So you might, crave, right? You might be like, oh, some broccoli sounds good. My friend Karen came over this last weekend and she was like, oh, I've just been craving broccoli, right? Her body needed something that's in that broccoli. But that is different. It's not like she was going to the refrigerator, y'all, and looking all over the refrigerator, right, for the broccoli, and I've got to make it right now. But often we are having these cravings and these wantings and these desires that make us do something that we say, I don't want to do. I don't want to go have that. And we find ourselves in there having it. Okay. And it's because our body wants a dopamine hit. So we're going to talk about this slide right here. This is the sugar addiction. It's a cycle. You eat the sugar, you like it, you crave it. It has addictive properties. Okay. What it does is it spikes your blood sugar levels. So dopamine is released in the brain and it says, yay, right? And that is our addiction center. And then this mass insulin is secreted to drop your blood sugar levels down. So then your blood sugar levels fall rapidly because insulin is doing what it's supposed to do. And now you have immediate fat storage because any of that sugar that has not been used for energy gets stored right. That's what insulin does, into the fat. And then here's the thing. Now the body's craving the lost sugar high. It wants the dopamine hit and it needs another high so that it gets that insulin to come through. And then you have the hunger and the cravings because that's what low blood sugar levels do. It causes an increased appetite and cravings, and the cycle repeats back to number one, you want to eat sugar. Anybody been there? I just want one piece. It's fine. It's just a birthday. I'm going to have a piece. And then all you do the rest of the night is fill your mouth. Okay. So how do we deal with sugar cravings? This workshop is about solutions, okay? And I'm going to tell you, resisting the urge to eat sugar can be extremely difficult, for some even painful, okay? And even though we have this knowledge and we know what is good for us and what's not good for us, it's not always easy. So I want to give you a few practical tips to help you beat sugar cravings. Number one is choose natural sweeteners, okay? Now, this is a very controversial subject. Is it best to go cold turkey or is it better to wean yourself? I'm just going to share with you, in 2010, I went on the Maker's Diet and it recommended up to 2 tablespoons of honey per day. And even doing that, and y'all, I'm telling you, I was making some things up that it recommended and had and I'm licking the spoon, right? Like I'm going to get every bite of that 2 tablespoons of honey that I'm allowed. Even that, on day 5, I seriously looked like a drug addict laying in bed shaking and thinking I was going crazy. Okay. My body was so used to having my daily sugar hits that I was having a really bad detoxification process going on. Okay. I personally feel that stevia, honey, and maple syrup in small amounts is a good lifestyle to begin with. So to have it during a sugar detox is going to help you move through that a little bit easier. Okay. And I don't feel like I'm addicted to them like regular added sugars, but here's the thing, everyone is different. So do what feels right to you. But I want you to know that the body does treat things like honey and maple syrup differently than the regular white added sugars. It is natural. It is something that God made and it's coming from there. Now, it also depends on how it's processed. So we have Renee here who's a honey, her dad did honey for years. My father-in-law did honey for years. We knew for years where we were getting our honey from and how it was. That's not always so just if you go to the store and it has a honey packet and it says honey on it, okay? So I want you to know that there are differences. Same thing with maple syrup, right? Sometimes it's maple syrup flavored. That's not the same as being tapped from a maple tree, okay? So I just want to share that with you. Out of all the other type of sweeteners, stevia has been around long enough that they've really done it. But again, it's going to depend on how it's processed, on how it affects your body. Everybody is different. Tip number 2 increase intake of healthy fats. I personally think it's easier to add in the good stuff, okay, than think about all the things I'm not going to have. So healthy fats have been found to lower sugar cravings because you're not so hungry, right? So eating avocado, unsweetened yogurt, adding coconut oil to your food are all great ways to increase your healthy fats. Number 3, y'all, seriously, no snacks, okay? If you are going to have a snack, choose a healthy snack. But does anybody know when snacking actually became popular? Can anybody tell me when snacking became popular?
Probably after World War II.
Actually, the 80s. And I can tell you the difference even in my own school. Okay. In the 4th grade, we went to lunch. Like you had breakfast before you went to school, you had lunch, and then you went home later and had dinner, right? Yes, sometimes you'd have an afternoon snack for the kids, but most parents, did y'all eat afternoon snacks every day? Okay. Here's the thing. In the 80s, okay, they started taking out the fats of everything and adding sugar. Sugar is a quick burner. Fat sustains us. So we felt like we were starving and we needed snacks. So they made snacks at the store for you to buy, even more than they had before. Okay. But they were like snack well, right? Because they're supposed to be healthy for you. Low fat, full of sugar. They made us hungrier. The truth of the matter is our bodies do not need to eat more than 2 to 3 meals a day as an adult. It just doesn't. Okay. If you feel like you need a snack, make sure it's one that's full of protein or fats like a hard-boiled egg, beef jerky, or nuts. But ask yourself, am I hungry or do I just want to eat? Okay. Because if we're not eating a meal, typically what we find ourselves doing is just snacking all day long, right? And then you add all that up and it's way more than you would have eaten in a couple of meals. The next is control the sugar intake at breakfast. Most breakfast food contains high amounts of sugar, okay? And this just increases cravings the rest of the day. And I share in the sugar detox recipes, chia pudding with berries, okay? It's giving you a healthy fat. You still feel like you're getting something a little sweet. You've got some berries. It's quite tasty, all right? But starting your breakfast not with sugar is going to be a good idea, okay? Number 5, drink homemade juice and smoothies. Y'all, when you use fresh fruit to make your own juice, like, you're getting this much, not this much, right? And when you're adding fruit into a smoothie, if you do it first and you blend it all up, you can see how much you're getting compared to how much if you go someplace and they're doing a smoothie and they're adding, the strawberries in there that have been soaking in sugar all night. Is this helping anyone? All right. So let's go on to number 6, avoid soft drinks. Here's the thing, y'all, even diet drinks have been found to increase overeating in those that drink them. Okay. You also tend to be more dehydrated, and let's just be honest, y'all, they're toxic. Okay. Mindful chewing. So often we eat so fast and don't chew and don't even know we are full until we get up from the table. And that's if we're even sitting at the table, right? Because eating on the run is what a lot of people do. And that's not a good time to eat. Your body is in a stress state if you are running around. Your cortisol is up and you're not able to digest your food properly. And that food is going to go straight into your fat cells. Okay. So stop and chew your food. Enjoy it. And then y'all, these last 3 tips are probably the most important. I could have put them as number 1, but I wanted you to see them at the end. Okay. Cooking from scratch. This really probably is the best tip ever because you get to control what goes into your food. And again, I have a whole list of recipes to help make it easier. Number 9 is plan your meals ahead of time. Who's heard when we fail to plan, we plan to fail? Again, this is why I have a wonderful menu plan and shopping list already for you, because I did it for me, because I know that if I am prepared and my family knows what we're going to have, we're less likely to eat things that are not going to be healthy for us. And then choose real food. Y'all, we don't have to make this complicated, okay? If it's real food and has no label, enjoy it. If it's processed or have a label, skip it. Okay. So the next thing I said I was going to share tonight is why sugar is a silent killer. And I know this sounds harsh, but excessive intake of sugar, which is more than, y'all, 6 teaspoons a day. That's normal, right? Anything 23 teaspoons is the norm, almost 4 times more than what would keep you at a non-toxic. Your body, your liver is able to take care of those 6 teaspoons and get it out of your system. But instead we have it, mama's working hard, y'all. Mama's working hard. So heart disease is the #1 killer of both in women and men today. And I'm not going to go into heart healthy foods today, but next week I'm going to. Okay. So if you're interested in learning more about heart healthy foods, make sure to let me know so that you can know how you can get that information. All right. I know right now a lot of people are scared of COVID. Here's the thing, sugar kills more people daily than COVID does. When sugar levels are high, you are more prone to diabetes, fatty liver, metabolic disease, and leaky gut. It's also linked to most cancers, especially the colon, the breast, and esophagus. It also causes damage to the brain, and they are now calling Alzheimer's diabetes 3. And here's the thing, y'all don't have to be diagnosed with diabetes 2 to have diabetes 3. Okay, it's where the toxin goes. It is a silent killer because it eats up your body from the inside and affects your quality of life. It is a silent killer, and we partake of it every single day. Sugar and your hormone health. Y'all, this was my story. The sugar you consume increases your levels of glucose, which increases the production of insulin, which is a hormone. And that hormone affects other hormones, okay? As I shared before, then your cells become resistant to the insulin and your sugar is stored in the fat and or it rises the blood the blood sugar to go up and causes diabetes. When your cells become resistant to insulin, they are also becoming resistant to other hormones, which causes a hormone imbalance. Sugar increases estrogen and often to the point of what's called estrogen dominance. We aren't going to go deep today in hormones and foods to support them, but I am going to be sharing in a few weeks a happy hormone class where we specifically discuss how food affects those hormones. Okay. So again, if you're interested, just let me know and I'm happy to make sure that you can get some information. Now, how about sugar, candida, and inflammation? So what is candida and what does sugar have to do with it? Well, candida is a parasitic fungus and is known to be a cause of inflammation. Its presence in the gut causes swelling, which then further promotes the candida and leaky gut. Who's heard of leaky gut before? Okay. Again, we don't have time to get into all that, but I am going to be teaching a class on the gut at the end of this month. And again, if you're interested, just let me know. We're going to be enjoying some bone broth. That's what I had for dinner tonight. Okay. Because it's really good for healing our gut. And inflammation is your body's response generated by the immune system. All right. It indicates that your body is either in a healing state or it is dealing with an injury or an infection. Acute inflammation is good. It helps to heal. That's what it's supposed to do. Chronic inflammation weakens the immune system and causes disease, sometimes even death. Okay. I'm going to be teaching an anti-inflammatory reset class in March. If you're interested, let me know. Now, how is sugar linked to both of these? Candida loves sugar, y'all. It loves it. It prospers. Okay. And excess sugar is a toxic stressor on the body, preventing healing. And this is why those with diabetes have a hard time healing wounds and often have amputations. The stories I could tell you all about wound care that I did, because back in the day, I was the wound care queen. That's what they called me. I was the one that was working with the patients. I treated lots of diabetic wounds and amputations, y'all. I even found a toe in the bottom of the whirlpool of a little old man with diabetes. Believe me, that was an interesting call to the doctor when I had to say, what do you want me to do with his toe? Okay. He got to cancel the surgery to remove the toes because it fell off, because it was dead. Okay. That's what sugar does. Sugar and stress. Have y'all heard me say that added sugar is a big stressor to your body tonight? Have you heard me say that once or twice? Stress is the number one cause of disease. Ironically, we tend to go to sugar when we're stressed. And it is one of the biggest factors that causes stress to our bodies in the first place. Okay. So sugar, we take it, it stresses our body out. So now that we're stressed, we eat sugar, which stresses our body out. It is a circle. Okay. When you are stressed spiritually, emotionally, and or physically, your cortisol levels spike up, which causes your glucose and insulin to spike, which leads to sugar cravings, fatigue, and weight gain. And we're in that cycle of addiction that I showed earlier. Okay. If you want to make your stress management efforts effective, the first thing you can do is detox from sugar. If you want less stress, y'all, that is a direction to go. The more stable your blood sugar is, the better you can manage your stress. I experienced this. My daughter actually is reading my book right now, which is kind of funny because it's been out for a year and she read a few pages, but she's not been a reader. And she's doing this challenge and she has to read 10 pages a day. So my book has been sitting on her bed table for a year now. And she was laughing and she says, Mom, either your book's really good because I'm not having a problem reading the 10 pages, or I'm just becoming a better reader. Yeah, no. So either way, she's reading it. And she said it's really interesting to see it from my point of view, what she saw and she experienced through that time. But she has also experienced, she thought it was just a mom thing, right? Until she went through Whole30 and wasn't eating sugar, and then returned to sugar and saw how it affected her emotionally. Okay. Sugar is a stressor to our body. The less stress, the less cortisol, the better you feel. And in my Exceptional Health Masterclass, this is exactly what I teach: how to have less stress, feel better, and have more energy while working towards your health goals. Okay. So you may have a health goal of losing weight in 2022 or eating a healthier diet, or more hormone balance, pennies ready to clean. Whatever it is, a sugar detox can be the start to a healthier you. All right. So several of us have already started doing a sugar detox. I am on week 3, so I'm like week 3 and 4 days or whatever. Okay. I know that Rose just shared that she started in the last couple of days and she is seeing some changes. I have Allie Rendon on here right now. Alicia, do you mind sharing with us real quick a little bit about your experience with doing the sugar detox?
Sure. Okay. Well, when Shauna started to advertise her sugar detox, it was not on my radar to be part of anything. And I thought back to begin with that didn't even sound fun. So I wasn't excited at all. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. But I know how good her retreats are. And I was like, I'm going to that retreat. That's going to be a good retreat, regardless of the name. And sure enough, I really realized I learned a lot. Like the principles behind why I was meeting my goals, but then falling off the wagon in my maintaining. And the sugar detox, the actual sugar was the key, because what was happening was I would lose the weight, but then I would have met my goal and I would go right back to introducing the things that I love, which was sugar, and I would gain the weight back. So, just I learned a lot during that retreat, and within the 3 weeks, I've lost 10 pounds. And my daughter Adeline's doing it with me, and she's lost 7 pounds.
That is awesome.
Yes, and as of right now, I don't have the cravings for sugar, so the fruit tastes great. So we'll have fruit. It tastes great. and I don't even have cravings. So that's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Rose, do you have anything you'd like to share on your day 3 or 4 that you started doing the sugar detox?
Well, I thought that it was really going to be difficult, but it really isn't, for me anyway, and it's just not processed. And everything that I buy, I've been like looking on the back of it and everything. And it seems to be a lot easier than I thought.
Good. Well, we
Yeah.
like easy, right?
Right. And, I put on there that I actually did not drool when I went past, the cakes. And I went today and my husband says, oh, like I could use a piece of cake. And I'm like, well, he wasn't going to tell me at first. And I'm like, you want a piece of cake? I will buy you a piece of cake. So I actually bought him cake and I bought myself apples and cut up fruit. And I said, that's my treat for myself, to cut up fruit, so I don't have to do it.
Yeah. Good job, Rose. I'm proud of you. And y'all, here's the thing. The thought of a sugar detox so often is what stops us from taking the action, right? Just thinking about it. I don't want to give up my sugar. I love my sugar, right? I don't know how this is going to be hard, like all the different thoughts. And that's what we talked about in the Fill My Cup retreat. If you missed that, you can go to the videos on my YouTube channel. I have those available. We talk about motivation. We talk about inspiration. We talk about transformation, right? We talk about changing our habits. But we were doing that as we were going through the sugar detox for those that chose to. Some are choosing to do it now. So that's why I'm talking more now about the specifics of the sugar detox. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again real quick. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. I appreciate it. So let's talk about starting the sugar detox. Am I sharing my screen? I'm not sharing my screen. Here. Now I'm sharing my screen, right? Am I sharing? Good. Okay. We need to have a proper sugar detoxification to break that addictive cycle of sugar and carb cravings that I showed you. All right. Which robs our health. That's what it's doing. Sugar is robbing your health. Detoxification is important because it will not just break the bad habit cycle we usually have. Okay. It actually will lead us to a healthier life. I like to call that the exceptional life, right? We can go down the normal road, which is the SAD diet, which is 23 teaspoons of sugar a day. Added sugar, not the fruit and all the good stuff, okay? Sugar detoxification can be painless, just like Rose was saying, and even Alicia, right? It can be enjoyable to reverse our sugar addiction while resting the body and the brain, okay? This is not a diet. The foods that I'm sharing with y'all are not diet foods, okay? This is about no longer having the craving and not feeling deprived of eating food that is good for you, okay? And here's the thing, at the end of a sugar detoxification cycle, which you could choose a week, right? You can see how you feel and what it's done for you and decide what you're going to do from there. So we don't have to make this like a forever thing. But I'm going to tell you, next week, sugar is just going to be as toxic for you as it is right now as I'm talking about it. And next year, it's still going to be a toxin. Okay. It's always going to stress our body out. So how do we detoxify the sugar? Well, again, it's not as hard as it sounds. You just change what you're eating and you say no to the sugar and you say yes to the good things. Okay. You want to make sure that you're getting foods to boost energy when you're avoiding added sugar. Okay. Because you're used to having those energy, right? It's just this quick energy. You're just grabbing something, you get it, and you think that's what's going to get you going. So you do have to make sure that you're getting foods that are going to help you. And that's why I've included lots of fruit like berries. I include veggies, protein from chicken and meat, salmon, nuts and seeds. All of those are going to help give you energy. Okay. And then there's the top 4 foods that help end sugar cravings in the recipes that I share also. Okay. Salmon, again, because it's high in healthy fats. Veggies like broccoli and cabbage have found you have less sugar cravings when you're eating those. Avocado, another healthy fat, and chia seeds. Chia seeds have been found. They found that people in specific countries that would just chew on chia seeds could walk miles and miles and miles in the desert and not get hungry because of these chia seeds, which also help keep you hydrated. Okay. And here's the thing, sugar also robs us from some pretty important nutrients. So we want to make sure to get plenty of chromium, fiber, calcium, and vitamin D and iron, which I've made sure is in these recipes that I've shared with y'all. Okay. Your sugar detox. I created this meal planner because I know when I have a menu for my family and I know where we're eating for the day, I'm not getting all stressed about what's for dinner. And I'm more likely to say no to sugar because I'm not having to find something quick and easy. Okay. I also have a sugar detox shopping list because I don't know about y'all, but it makes it easier to just check what I already have or check what I need to buy, however you like to check off your list. All right. And mark it for what you need. Last but not least is the recipe guide. And these recipes are to help you eat real food and see what makes you feel good and what doesn't. I don't take everything out, y'all. Okay. There's still rice in it. There's still potatoes in it. Those are things that the Lord has made for us, whether you want to partake of it or not is up to you. But I want you to know that sometimes if we remove everything, then we feel like a failure when we have something, right? So the purpose of this really is to just not have added toxic sugars, and products like flour that turn into toxic sugar are not added. Okay. And I'm going to tell y'all, we've had orange chicken 3 times. Well, we had orange pork the other day because my friend bought some pork over. The orange chicken is like our favorite meal right now. So we're not going to overdo it. We're going to do it one more time next week, and then it's going to go off the menu for a little while so we can enjoy it. But we feel like we're kind of going to a Chinese restaurant and getting spoiled with it. Okay. There's smoothies in there that are full of fiber to help you balance your blood sugars. Even though you're having a lot of natural sugar, that fiber is what balances it out. Okay. The purpose of this week's sugar detox is to get your body used to real food and not all the added sugars. And then next week, we're going to be diving into foods that are good for a healthy heart. Okay. So I am going to stop my share. If I can find my button is missing. There we go. And we did so good on time, y'all. It's 9 o'clock. This is the time for questions. If anybody has any questions, I am here for you. If you haven't already got the sugar detox planner, shopping list, recipe guide, food and stuff, let me know. You should have got it in the email if you had signed up for this class, or if you had gone to my website and done it. If not, though, let me know and I'll make sure that you get it. But I'm here for questions and answers and solutions.
I have a question about popcorn.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like it's a guilty pleasure. Is that the case, or do you allow popcorn?
Well, you and I think had this conversation about how popcorn affects me. So I'm just going to share with everybody.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I'm going to say anything, y'all, you're going to have to make a choice of what it's doing for you. You've lost 10 pounds in how many weeks?
3.
Have you enjoyed some popcorn?
No, I don't remember having any, but I can't recall, but I don't think so.
Okay. So if you did, you might see how that affects your body and how you feel. For me,
Right.
if I have popcorn at night, and my husband, y'all, makes the best. We have the organic popcorn. He does it in coconut oil and he adds real butter to it, y'all. It is delicious. Okay. But I will wake up the next day starving at like 6 a.m. I want to eat anything that I can possibly find. And here's the thing. It's not like, oh, I want an egg. It's like, is there any cereal up there in the cabinet? Right. So for me, it is something that I have on occasion. I don't necessarily think of it as like I'm cheating from having added sugars. but I do know how it affects my body. Okay. And I don't want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning starving looking for a bowl of cereal. So does that help?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I know when we did the sugar detox originally, when you started, you specified you were cutting out white sugar, like processed. What about pure sugar cane that's raw?
Yeah. So it's still been processed. Unless you're chewing on the sugar cane, it's processed. What I am going to say, just from my experience in the last 12 years, is my body does respond differently to coconut sugar and some of those sugars compared to white sugar. You give me white sugar and white flour, and the next day am not a nice mother or wife. Okay. It's a really big stressor on my body. But here's the thing. When we are eating sugar like that, even if it is less processed maybe than the white sugar, we have to ask ourselves, are we able to reach our goals? Because it is taxing to our liver. Our liver is still going to have to process that. And it still has no fiber in it, right? To balance it out like if you had berries. But I will say that my children do have coconut sugar in like their hot chocolate and things like that. So. And I like to do good, better, best, right? We do this even with restaurants. Okay. Like what's good? Like my family are like, well, Brahms is good, Chick-fil-A is good, right? But there's other things that are better and best. So we have just now right next to us is a place called I've only been there a couple times. My daughter goes there a lot though. The Health Nut. Okay. The Health Nut is so much better than going to Brahms or to the Chick-fil-A or something. Okay. So that's better. But best would be eating at home or going to like some of these really nicer, I'm going to say gourmet healthy restaurants, right? That are doing all natural, organic, farm to table type stuff. So at home, we kind of have to sometimes make those same decisions. Popcorn may be okay. It might be on the good list. It's not on the not, but it's not maybe the best thing for me, right? There might be another thing I could be eating at that time. And you know, maybe it's nuts or something. However, y'all, those of you that know me very well, you can take something that's good for you, like nuts, okay, and overindulge. So, and a lot of that, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of that has to do with things that our body's missing, but nuts are not necessarily the only way I can get my magnesium. So I love a cup of nuts, right? A cup of almonds. And it does make me feel better because I'm probably getting the magnesium and I'm getting the healthy fats, but there's other foods that I could eat instead of that to get that, or take a nice Epsom salt bath.
Sean, I think I had shared that one time, that friend of mine that was eating, I believe it was almonds. And she said, well, almonds are good for you, but she was eating quite a bit of them. She just had them in a bowl or like a candy dish, maybe with a lid on it. And when she'd walk through the kitchen or be in there doing dishes, she'd just grab her a handful. And she ended up getting what's called UTI. And she's like, why? And the doctor said, well, have you changed? She goes, well, the only thing, so she thought, she goes, only thing I've changed. And he said that it has, what was it? Some type of, one of the minerals that's in almonds can cause you to have.
Right. It's actually what coats it and stuff, which is why I do a lot of times soak them and dehydrate them so that they don't have that and are easier to break down. But y'all, anything that we eat out of moderation is going to affect our body in a way that's not good. You know, you could eat a bag of apples. Apples are good for you, but you eat a bag of them, you're going to have diarrhea because your body has now become toxic and it's getting rid of it. So we have to remember, and that's just like a lot of people are taking, you know, flour, like white flour or even wheat flour out of their diet and adding things like almond flour and coconut flour. And now they're finding they're sensitive to that because they still have the leaky gut and their body is having to process a lot. Y'all, if you take almonds to make flour, it's like eating a lot of almonds. Like, I mean, personally, I'd rather just eat it in the almond form than the flour form. But the same thing with almond milk and some of these things. Some people are having almonds in everything every single day, and then they find out that they're sensitive to it because it's being processed. If we lived out where, you know, there's an almond tree and you got it, you're going to have to crack well, actually an almond's from a fruit. You're going to have to open up the fruit. You're going to have to get the almond and stuff. Then they would dehydrate them and do all these things to them. And in the past cultures, they didn't just sit there and open up a bag of almonds and eat the whole bag. Like maybe I've done before, right? So just know that how our food is, and the same thing goes with strawberries. Like you'd go pick some strawberries for the season and you might freeze some, but you wouldn't go and buy a whole container and eat the whole thing right then and there. So looking up your fruits and your vegetables and seeing what a serving size looks like, okay? And then one of the things that we're going to be doing and talking about, which is why we're going to be talking about heart health, healthy heart in the next week, is we don't want to eat the same foods all the time, right? We need to be consistently changing what we're eating so that our body is getting all the different nutrients, right? God didn't make just 5 foods. He gave us plenty of choices, and he gave us different seasons that the different choices come from. So we're going to be talking about that as we move forward too.
I'm sorry, I'm late to this meeting. I forgot all about it, so I'm gonna have to watch the hopefully you'll put it up so that I can re-watch the whole thing.
Yeah, Stacy, I will put up the replay for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know this was
Hold
about,
on, I've got a question.
Go ahead. Who was going to ask a question? I heard someone say something about a question.
Sorry, that was me. I didn't want to interrupt Stacy. The bone broth,
Uh-huh.
I'm living in a camper,
Uh-huh.
and I found out with attempting to make the bone broth that it was nauseating to all of us, the smell. Is there another option that won't stink up everything?
Do you have an Instapot?
My Instapot has not moved with me yet. All I have is my crock pot.
Okay. You can do it in a crock pot too, but it's going to take a longer period of time and you still might be able to smell it. But I'm telling you, in my Instapot, until we open it up, you're not going to be able to smell it. I remember being in a camper one time when I was pregnant with bacon being made, and I didn't eat bacon for about 10 years. So I understand that sometimes, you know, when we're in a small area and it can be a little strong, but in an Instapot, because it's closed the time that you're cooking it and it's a shorter period of time. So if you can get your Instapot out of storage or grab another one, that might be a solution instead of 24 hours on the stove.
Shauna, how do you feel about the store-bought bone broth?
One, you're paying more than you would be if you made it yourself. Two, anything that's being stored, you always just wonder what else is going into it. There are some that I've read are really good, but I mean, I might as well buy my chicken and do it because I get to eat the chicken first and then make the bone broth. Y'all, I'm gonna say that it really, like a lot of things, just ends up needing to become a habit. I know for me it's easy because I've been doing it for 10 years, almost on a weekly basis. Sometimes in the summer we may go 2 or 3 weeks without making a chicken, but I would say at least twice a month. It's just become part of my routine. It's part of my planning and my menu. And I made up a double batch this time because it was snowing outside. So I actually did my first first big pot with the bones and everything last night. And then this morning I did it a second time. And I drank from the first one, and they had soup with the second one. And they said it was really good and it's all gone. So I guess the second bone broth was still a winner. It looks the same, but what I'll find the first time, mine is like gelatin. You know, when I went in there before I warmed up my broth, it was like gelatin. I have not ever bought bone broth from the store that looks like my gelatin. And that is the part that's really good for healing the gut and the bones. So,
You buy like a roasting chicken, or what kind of chicken do you buy?
I buy a whole chicken. I buy Mary's organic chicken. And I do spend, it's not cheap, I'm going to tell y'all, but I have calculated, we always get at least 2 meals, if not more, out of it for a family of 4 to 5. And usually one of those meals are soup. So that's not even counting, the bone broth that's come out of it. It's just the chicken itself that's either going into the soup. And the first cook, I'm going to say, when we make it, typically we use it and have vegetables on the side. So it's just like a roasted chicken. You can roast it in the oven, or a lot of times I just put it in the Instapot and we pull it out. We take the chicken, have it for dinner, and then I take all the bones and put it in, and whatever chicken's left over is what's going in the soup the next day. It may cost me $15 for the size of the chicken that I get for 2 meals for 4, plus extra broth and stuff that I use the rest of the week for other things.
That's what our grandparents did. They never wasted the bones of whatever they had.
Yep. Yeah. My friend was just over and she was like, we have a lot of pork bones. Do you want some pork bones? I'm like, I've never made pork broth, but I guess I can try. But they've raised some pigs and stuff, and they have plenty, she said. But I will say it's just become a habit. And that's anything when it comes to eating healthy, y'all. You made a habit to eat sugar in the first place. We all have, right? It was a habit. It just becomes easy. Making bone broth for me, and I know it's hard for me to tell people, because even Penny and I've had this conversation through the years, my mom and I, it's just become a habit that I do it every week. So I buy the chicken, I get my Instapot down, I stick a little water in it, I put my chicken in, I put some seasoning, and 45 minutes later, we're going to have dinner. Maybe an hour, because it's set on 45 minutes. We're going to have dinner. After that, it all goes back in there. I throw all the vegetables I possibly can find. What I do when I cut up vegetables is I keep all the ends and I put them in a baggie. So all I have to do is take my bag and throw, limp celery or the ends of celery that we're not eating. The same thing with carrots. Again, nothing is going to waste that way. The peelings of your garlic and your onions have so many vitamins that we're not using. I put that in there, and that all goes into making my bone broth. It tastes heavenly. I seriously had a cup of it for dinner and for lunch. That's what I had, because it was cold outside and I just had a cup of broth.
Getting back to the sugar thing, on my food scan, it said that I needed to be using stevia. However, I've been using monk fruit for a long time.
Right.
Is there anything wrong with that, or do I need to get the stevia?
Well, here's the thing, Stacy. Our body, a lot of times, if we are using something for a long period of time, if we have gut issues, could be affecting those gut issues, or we could be having a allergic response to it. Hello, Christopher. So just know that that food scan just helps you to see things that your body is saying eat more of and eat less based on the frequency of those foods in your body. So if you've been doing monk fruit for a while, you may switch over to stevia and see how you feel. If you don't feel any difference, go back to the monk fruit. But the same thing for me and honey and maple syrup and stuff. Sometimes they use honey, sometimes they use maple syrup. Sometimes I check the scan to see which one comes up. Typically one will be on one side and one will be on the other. Good night, Jen. Thanks for coming.
Okay.
It's just a guide to help you, because what we tend to do is the same thing over and over and over, right? We have the same meals week to week, day to day. We use the same sweeteners, and our body begins to respond to those, not always in a positive way.
Been doing a lot of baby food because it's easy to carry to work, and it's a mixture of fruits and vegetables, and I figure it's healthier anyway.
Well, you might look at it and see how much added sugar is in it, because unfortunately, most store-bought baby food, y'all, is full of sugar.
Oh, okay.
You might check that, because they want to get those babies addicted to the sugar pretty fast too, right?
Tony, you said Karen had asked you about the pork bones. So I guess that'd be the same as making the roast. Last time I made a roast, I bet let it cook for a long time. And then, like you said, after we took the roast out and made a couple of meals out of it, then I left the bone in there and some of the fat, and cooked it up some more to make our stew out of. So I guess that's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it depends on how long you cooked on how much of a broth it was and how much it was just soaking with the meat and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, anytime you have bones and you're getting them at a high, you want to boil it at first. So it depends on if you do stove or if you're doing like an Instapot. If you're doing
it was an Instapot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours or whatever, but you're saying you do yours overnight, like 24 hours?
Well, in my Instapot, I do it for 240 minutes because that's how long it goes. But when I did it on the stove back in the day before my Instapot, I did it for 24 hours. And once you get it boiling, then you just let it stay on low for that amount of time. And the goal is it just to pull all the good stuff out of the bones. So if your bones are not mushy and bendable and stuff, then you haven't probably done it long enough. You can add a little bit of vinegar to it. That'll help break it down too. But that's the goal, is to get all the good stuff out of there. Y'all, many of y'all probably heard this story before, but my dog that just passed away this last year, we were told wouldn't make it past 6 years old. She would be lame. She was almost 12. She walked the day that she passed away. And she was probably the reason I made the bone broth every week or every 2 weeks, because it kept her walking. And the rest of our family who have had leg aches, it's just something that, they say runs in the family. I don't claim that because it no longer runs in my family, or maybe it's the bone broth. So we can tell a difference with our joints. So when people talk about arthritis, joint pain, and all the other things, bone broth plays a big part in the healing. We're going to talk about the gut in a couple of weeks, but I'm just talking about the life-changing healing it has helped our family not have joint pain. My kids don't have leg aches anymore. My oldest is 15 and he has grown a lot in the last year, and he doesn't have leg aches. When he was 4, before we got started doing the bone broth and stuff, he had leg aches almost every night, along with his sister and his big brother.
Wow.
Any other questions before I let you wonderful, beautiful ladies go? Renee, if you haven't been seeing the chat, I see that there's some people saying hello.
Good to see everybody.
Good to see you. All right, ladies, thank you so much for coming tonight. I appreciate you. I will have this up. If you haven't got your sugar detox recipes and stuff, again, you can do whatever you want, but if you like things to be easy, that's why I've made it up. Like I said, we're on week 3 of using the recipes. We're going to do it one more week next week, and then we will be moving on to some heart healthy recipes to really support our heart this month in February. And I will have, y'all, we're not going to go Valentine's without anything special. So I do have a special healthy treat for Valentine's Day for the recipes that I'll be giving out next Thursday. All right. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.